With respect to Bar Council of India, consider the following statements. With respect to Bar Council of India, with respect to with respect to Bar Council of India, consider the following statements. It is a statutory body. Attorney General of India is ex officio member of the council. It lays down standards for legal education in India. With respect to the Bar Council of India, consider the following statements. It is a statutory body. It lays down standards Bar Council of India. With respect to the Bar Council of India, consider the following statements. It is a statutory body. Attorney General of India is the ex officio member of the Bar Council of India. It lays down the standards for legal education in India. 1C. Which of the following information is displayed on voter verifiable paper audit trail? Which of the following information is displayed on the voter verifiable paper audit trail? Name of the candidate voted for. Symbol of the candidate of the party. Name of the voter. Following information is displayed on voter verifiable paper audit trail. Name of the candidate voted for. Symbol of the candidate or party. 1 and 2 to A. Which of the following are correct with reference to the National Commission for Backward Classes? Which of the following are correct with reference to the National Commission for Backward Classes? Its mandate is to oversee the interests of the economically weaker sections of society. While inquiring into any complaint, it has all the powers of a civil court. Which of the following are correct with reference to the National Commission for Backward Classes? Its mandate is to oversee the interests of the economically weaker sections of society. While inquiring into any complaint, it has all the powers of a civil court. 3C. With reference to the National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy, consider the following statements. It aims to curb open access to data generated by various entities of Government of India. It applies to all data created by public as well as private organizations. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology is the nodal agency for its implementation. With reference to the National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy, consider the following statements. It aims to curb open access to data generated by various entities of Government of India. With reference to the National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy, consider the following statements. With reference to the National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy, consider the following statement. It aims to curb open access to data generated by various entities of Government of India. It applies to all data created by public as well as private organizations. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology is the nodal agency for its implementation. 3 हो सकता है. Which of the following is not correct with reference to the Citizens Charter? It includes vision and mission statement of the organization. It is legally enforceable and therefore is justiciable. It stipulates the responsibilities of the citizens. It includes the standards of service delivery. Which of the following statements in the context Which of the following statements in the context of the Central Vigilance Commission is correct? The salary and allowances and other service conditions of the Central Vigilance Commissioner are the same as those of the Chairman of the Union Public Service Commission. The expenses of the Central Vigilance Commission is charged on the Consolidated Fund of India. Commissioner are the same as those of the Chairman of the Union Public Service Commission. Who among the following is the Chairman of the Central Hindi Committee? Union Minister of Home Affairs, Union Minister of Education, Union Minister of Information Broadcasting, Prime Minister, Central Hindi Committee. Who among the following are eligible for free legal aid in India under the provisions of Legal Services Authorities Act 1987? A member of a scheduled tribe, differently abled person, children, women. Which of the following are the barriers to good governance? Excessive centralization and policies and action plans, low levels of compliance of rules by the citizens, ineffective structure of performance evaluation systems. Barriers to good governance, तीनों हो सकता है, लाइन दी. On which of the following matters the Union Public Service Commission is consulted by the government? Matters related to the suitability of candidates for promotions or transfers from one service to another. While making reservations of appointments or posts in favor of any backward class citizens, disciplinary matters affecting a person serving under the Government of India in a civil capacity. On which of the following matters the Union Public Service Commission is consulted by the government? Matters related to the suitability of candidates for promotion or transfers from one service to another. While making reservations of appointments or posts in favor of any backward classes, 2 is not good. Disciplinary matters affecting a person serving under the Government of India in a civil capacity. 310B. Which among the following publishes annual survey? Annual Survey of Education Report, Ministry of Women and Child Development, Ministry of Education. Annual Survey of Education Report, Ministry of Education, 11B. Which of the following are the reasons as are proposed for imposing compulsory voting? Right to vote is an individual right which a citizen could decide whether to exercise or not. It results in a higher degree of political legitimacy as it is based on higher voter turnout. Tasking parties to attract voters is a better reflection of voters' interest engagement with politics. Higher voter turnout. The reference to the National Commission for Scheduled Caste. Consider the following statement. It is a statutory body constituted by an Act of Parliament. It inquires into specific complaints with respect to the deprivation of rights and safeguards of the SC. It investigates and monitors all matters relating to the constitutional and other legal safeguards for the SCs. 2 and 3. Who among the following determine the salaries, allowances and other terms and conditions of service of the State Chief Information Commissioner and State Information Commissioners? Who among the following determine the salaries, allowances and other terms and conditions of service of the State Chief Information Commissioner and State Information Commissioners? Parliament, central government, no, I have no idea. The reference to the electronics voting machines. Consider the following statement. Provisions for the use of electronic voting machines are provided under the representation of the continuously monitored through a centralized storage server. EVMs completely eliminates the possibilities of both capturing. 3 is wrong, only 1. Provision for the use of EVMs are provided under the Representation of the People's Act 1951. Which of the following are the components of Sevottam Service Delivery Excellence Model? Effective implementation of Citizens' Charter, sound public grievance redress mechanism, service delivery preparedness and achievement of results. Which of the following bodies are mentioned in the Constitution? Interstate Council, Zonal Council, Goods and Services Tax Council. 1 and 3. 17. Consider the following statement with reference to the Good Governance Index. It is a comprehensive framework to assess the state of governance in all states and UTs. It contributes in tracking the progress of sustainable development goals at the state level. By Niti Aayog, Good Governance Index. Consider the following statement with reference to compulsory licensing. It is an authorization to make, use or sell a particular product or use a particular process that has been patented without the need of the permission of the patent owner. It is mentioned under the TRIPS Agreement and Indian Patent Act 1970. Consider the following statement with respect to public financial management system. The objective of public financial management system is to monitor the flow of funds between Government of India and central public sector enterprises. It is administered by Controller General of Accounts in the Finance Ministry. Consider the following statement with respect to public financial management system. The objective of public financial management system is to monitor the flow of funds between the Government of India and central public sector enterprises. It is administered by Controller General of Accounts in the Finance Ministry. The Commissioner holds office for a term as prescribed by the central government. He is not eligible for reappointment. Central Information Commissioner. Which of the following committees are related to police reforms in India? Ribeiro Committee, Malimat Committee, Padmanabha Committee, Department of Official Language, Ministry of Home Affairs, Directorate General of Foreign Trade, Ministry of External Affairs, Department of Land Resources. Election to which of the following provides for caste-based reservations? ASEAN, Southeast Asian Region, South Asian Free Trade Area Agreement, SAARC country, Mercosur, Africa. South Asian Free Trade Area, SAARC countries 1 and 2 हो सकता है. In the context of electoral reforms, the constitutional right of citizens to cast a negative vote in elections was upheld in which of the following cases? In the context of electoral reforms, the constitutional right of citizens to cast a negative vote in elections was upheld in which of the following cases? Reference to the general consent to CBI, consider the following statement. It is given to CBI to investigate cases of corruption against central government employees in the concerned state. Ministry of Home Affairs in the only authority to grant consent. Reference to the general consent to CBI, consider the following statements. It is given to CBI to investigate cases of corruption against central government employees in the concerned state. Ministry of Home Affairs is the nodal authority to grant consent. Ministry of Home Affairs. Which of the following are the functions of the Public Enterprises Selection Board? To advise the government on top-level appointments at public sector banks. To advise the government on the formulation of a code of conduct for managerial personnel in public sector enterprises. To build a data bank containing data relating to the performance of PSCs and its officers. With reference to Law Commission of India, consider the following statements. It is reconstituted every 5 years. The recommendations of the Commission are binding upon the government. No. With reference to the office of Lokpal, consider the following statement. The salary allowances and other conditions of service of the Lokpal chairperson are same as that of the Chief Justice of India. The administrative expenses of the Lokpal are charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India. Recently, China has claimed rights over territories around South King Wildlife Sanctuary, claiming it as a disputed region. This wildlife sanctuary is located in South King, Bhutan. With respect to the recently released Tiger Status Report of India, consider the following statement. India accounts for 70% of the world's tigers. Karnataka has the maximum number of tigers. So, 1. The creation of the institution of Lokpal was first recommended by Planning Commission, first Administrative Reforms Commission, fourth Law Commission, third Finance Commission. The creation of the institution of Lokpal was first recommended by. Consider the following statement with reference to Permanent Court of Arbitration. It aims to provide dispute resolution services involving state entities, international and private parties. With reference to Multidimensional Poverty Index, which of the following statements is correct? It was jointly developed by the Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative and United Nations Development Programme. It is a measure of acute multidimensional poverty covering both developed and developing countries. Higher is the MPI value, lower is the poverty incidence. E-Praman, Electronic Delivery of Government Services, Meghraj, Discrete Cloud Computing Service, E-Kranti, National E-Authentication Service. Consider the following statements. While an opinion poll is conducted before balloting to gauge the intentions of voters, an exit survey is conducted after elections to find out who they actually voted for. While an opinion poll is conducted before balloting to gauge the intentions of voters, while opinion polls cannot be conducted for constituencies that have already voted, exit polls can be telecast only after completion of the final phase of polling. While opinion polls cannot be conducted for constituencies that have already voted. Statements. In the dual command structure, the control over the police rests with both superintendent of police and the district magistrate. In commissionerate system, the control over the police lies entirely with the district magistrate. Dual command structure emphasizes the principle of separation of powers, whereas the commissionerate system emphasizes accountability. Over the police rests with both superintendent of police and district magistrate. 1 and 3. 38C. Consider the following statement with respect to Official Language Commission. It is a statutory body constituted under the provisions of the Official Languages Act 1963. The Commission can make recommendations to the President related to restrictions on the use of English language for official purpose of the Union. Which of the following amounts to the violation of Model Code of Conduct? Transport of an election official without prior approval of the Election Commission. Combining official visit with electioneering work by the Prime Minister. Attending Independence Day celebration by Chief Minister. In which of the following cases would the President have to make a reference to the Supreme Court for an inquiry before he could order the removal of the chairman or any other member of UPSC if he engages during his term of office in any paid employment outside his office by reason of infirmity of mind, if he is guilty of misbehavior? The practice of rotating senior officers of All India services in and out of the Secretariat position is known as. The practice of rotating senior officers of All India services in and out of the Secretariat position is known as, in your system. Which of the following statement with reference to the International Seabed Authority are correct? It is an intergovernmental body based in Jamaica. It is mandated to organize, regulate and control all mineral-related activities in all international seabed area. In the Indian Ocean for polymetallic nodules, International Seabed Authority. Which of the following statements is correct about governance? It is the process by which governments are selected, held accountable, monitored and replaced. It is the respect of citizens and the state for the institutions that govern economic and social interactions among them. It is the capacity of governments to manage resources efficiently and to formulate, implement, and enforce sound policies and regulations. Reference to the maternal mortality rate in India. The MMR in India is more than 100 per 1 lakh live births. Haryana has the highest MMR in India. MMR in India is more than 100 per 1 lakh live birth. Documents are accepted for casting the vote: PAN card, driving license, passbook with the photograph, photo voter slip. The reference to the system of proportional representation by means of a single transferable vote. Consider the following statement. The ballots of the candidate securing the least number of first preference votes are transferred to the first preference votes of other candidates. The electoral quota to ensure the absolute majority is determined by dividing the total number of valid votes polled by 2. Other candidates. The Social Stock Exchange recently seen in news is related to a government initiative to help the companies listed on stock exchange to carry out their corporate social responsibility activities, a regulated funding platform to allow social enterprises and voluntary organizations with a social purpose to raise funds, a government initiative to generate secondary market investment awareness among the millennials, a regulated funding platform where only the social media companies are listed. Reference to the Outer Space Treaty. Consider the following statement. It holds states liable for damage caused by their space objects. It is administered by a United Nations committee. India is signatory and has ratified the treaty. Consider the following statement with reference to scheme of modernization of government offices. The scheme emphasizes on the modernization of office with a view to promoting efficiency and effectiveness in government functioning. Only offices of ministries, departments of Government of India, staff offices, and statutory bodies located in Delhi and are covered under this scheme. It is implemented by the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances. There is no limit on the expenditure that a party can incur during its election campaign. PCI is empowered to suspend the recognition of political party for failing to submit its Lok Sabha expenditure statement. Barred from receiving foreign contributions. She is wrong. E-Government Development Index is presented by E-Government Development Index. These are the following enhances transparency in governance. Yeah.
ये क्या रख दिया इसमें सुई निकाला? हाँ? क्या है रे? मेरे पास क्यों रख दिया है?
कैंची देना कैंची।
क्या है? कैमरा उमरा का है?
अरे लौटाने का है वो कैमरा तो कैंची दो ना।
तुमसे भी नहीं घुस रहा है।
कैंची दो ना कैंची काटना पड़ेगा।
गर्मी है उतना मुश्किल हो जाता है।
लो लो हो गया।
कौन सी खाएंगे? संतरा खीरा सब शरीर के लिए, कल के लिए।
हेलो
ना
हेलो भाई। Which of the following enhances transparency in governance? Production and dissemination of white papers, citizen charters and service charters, publishing annual performance report. Which of the following enhances transparency in governance? Citizen charters and service charters. Which of the following are correct with reference to the Special Officer of Linguistic Minorities? The office of the Special Officer for Linguistic Minorities is a constitutional office. He is to be appointed by the President of India. He investigates all matters relating to the safeguards provided for linguistic minorities under the Constitution. Social accountability implies the engagement of civic organization. Social accountability implies the engagement of civic organizations to express demand for public services and exact accountability from local service providers. Which of the following tools enhance social accountability? Participatory budget analysis, community scorecards, citizen charters, social audits. Consider the following statement with reference to the National E-Governance Services Delivery Assessment. It emphasizes on the quality of the e-governance service delivery mechanism from the citizen's perspective. The framework covers services under G2B and G2C segments across all sectors of the economy. Which of the following are the functions of the National Center for Good Governance? To be a think tank for governance and policy reforms cutting across administrative, social and economic and financial sphere. To function as a national repository on information on best practices, initiative methodologies that promote good governance. To promote sharing and replication of innovation ideas and best practices in governance. In the context of Central Information Commission, Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions is the nodal ministry for Central Information Commission. President of India leads the report of Central Information Commission in each house of the Parliament. Linked with central government at the top and tehsils and blocks at the bottom. Consider the following statement with reference to National Intelligence Grid. It is an integrated intelligence master database of all the citizens of India for counter-terrorism purpose. It is a statutory body. The data under it is made available to central investigating agencies only in case-to-case basis. 3 option. 3. Which of the following are the powers functions of the Election Commission? To grant recognition to political parties and allot election symbols to them. To advise the presiding officers of either house of the Parliament on matters relating to the disqualifications under the anti-defection law. To advise the President whether elections can be held in a state under President's rule in order to extend the period of emergency up to 1 year. Finance Commission makes recommendations to the President of India on which of the following matters? Distribution of the net proceeds of taxes to be shared between the centre and the states. The principles that should govern the grants in aid to the states by the centre. Allocation between the states of the respective shares of proceeds from centres to states. The principles that should govern the grants in aid to the panchayats and municipalities by the states. Which of the following offices are attached to Niti Aayog? Development Monitoring and Evaluation Office, National Institute of Labour Economics Research and Development. Which of the following incentives are offered? CPAM, for API Management. Which of the following incentives are offered by the government for the promotion of PPP? Viability gap funding in the form of capital grant. Long-term debt for financing infrastructure project through India Infrastructure Finance Limited. Office of Chief Justice of India, Office of Attorney General, Unaided Religious Trust, Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Statement reference to India Enterprise Architecture Framework. It seeks to simplify governance by providing one personalized account for each individual where one can avail all government services. National Digital Health Mission will be developed by adopting INDI. In the context of the political and electoral reforms in India, arrange the following in chronological order. Voting rights extended to non-resident Indians. Following languages has not been declared as a classical language by the Government of India. Odia, Kannada, Malayalam, Marathi nahi hai, 68C. Are the nodal agencies for receiving grievances from the citizens of India. The Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances. The Department of Pension and Pensions Welfare. Public wing in the Prime Minister's wing. The public wing in the Rashtrapati Bhavan Secretariat. Prerak Duar Samman Award recently seen in news is later to Rashtriya Vayushri Yojana. Which of the following statement is correct in the context of the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights? It consists of the chairperson and 10 members, out of which at least 3 are women. The chairperson and members hold office for a period of 3 years or till the age of 62 years. Consider the following statement with reference to social audit. It is a tool used for evaluating service delivery through direct participation of intended beneficiaries. It involves assessment of both financial and non-financial objectives of the program. Center for Social Audit is mandated to provide a clear set of guidelines to carry out and sustain the process of such audit. Consider the following statement with reference to Green AG project. It aims for sustainable land use and water management in farms. The project will target the northwestern states of India, including Punjab and Haryana. India Governing Council. It comprises the chief ministers of all the states UTs with legislatures. It should meet at least twice a year. Lieutenant governors of union territories without legislature are not members of Governing Council. After the declaration of election results, the new Lok Sabha is deemed to be constituted upon the issue of a notification by which of the following authorities? After the declaration of election results, the new Lok Sabha is deemed to be constituted upon the issue of a notification by which of the following authorities? After the declaration of election results. After the declaration of election results, the new Lok Sabha is deemed to be constituted upon the issue of a notification by which of the following authorities? Candidates may be required to write essays on multiple topics. They will be expected to keep closely to the subject of the essay, to arrange their ideas in orderly fashion, and to write concisely. Credit will be given for effective and exact expression. Paper 2. General Studies Paper 1. Indian Heritage and Culture. History and Geography of the World and Society. Indian culture will cover the salient aspects of art forms. Indian culture will cover the salient aspects of art forms, literature, and architecture from ancient to modern times. Modern Indian history from about the middle of the 18th century until the present. Significant events, personalities, issues. The freedom struggle, its various stages, and important contributions from different parts of the country. Post-independence, consolidation, and reorganization within the country. History of the world will include events from 18th century such as Industrial Revolution, World Wars, withdrawal of national boundaries, colonization, decolonization, political philosophies like communism, capitalism, socialism, etc., their forms and effect on the society. Salient features of Indian society, diversity of India, role of women and women's organization, population and associated issues, poverty and developmental issues, urbanization, their problems and their remedies, effects of globalization on Indian society, social empowerment, communalism, regionalism and secularism, salient features of world's physical geography, distribution of key natural resources across the world including South Asia and the Indian subcontinent, factors responsible for the location of primary, secondary and tertiary sector industry in various parts of the world including India, important geophysical phenomena such as earthquakes, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclone, etc. Geographical features and their location, changes in critical geographical features including water bodies and ice caps and in flora and fauna and the effects of such changes. Yeah, man. General Studies Paper 2. Governance, Constitution, Polity, Social Justice and International Relations. Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution, Historical Underpinnings, Evolution, Features, Amendments, Significant Provisions and Basic Structure. Functions and Responsibilities of the Union and the States. Issues and challenges pertaining to the federal structure, devolution of powers and finances up to local levels and changes their conduct of business, powers and pressure groups and formal and informal associations and their role in polity. Salient features of the Representation of People's Act. Appointment to various constitutional posts, powers, functions and responsibilities of various constitutional bodies. Statutory, regulatory and various quasi-judicial bodies. Government policies and interventions for development in various sectors and issues rising out of their design and implementation. Development process and the development industry. The role of NGOs, self-help groups for the protection and betterment of these vulnerable sections. Issues relating to the development. Issues related to poverty and important aspects.
तुम काहे अपना कर दे
Successes, limitations and potential citizen charters, transparency and accountability in institutional other methods. Role of civil services in our democracy. India and its neighborhood relations, bilateral, regional and global groupings in Indian diaspora. Important international institutions, agencies and fora, their structure and mandate. General Studies Paper 3. Technology, Economic Development, Biodiversity, Environment, Security and Disaster Management. Indian economy and issues relating to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development and employment. Inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Government budgeting. Major crops, cropping patterns in various parts of the country. Different types of irrigation and irrigation system storage. Transport and marketing of agricultural produce and issues and related constraints. E-technology in the aid of farmers. Issues related to direct and indirect farm subsidies and minimum food processing and related industries in India, scope and significance, location, upstream and downstream requirements, supply chain management, land reforms in India, effects of liberalization of the economic changes in industrial policy and their effects on industry, science and technology developments and their applications and effects in everyday life, achievements of Indians in science and technology, indigenization of technology, intellectual property rights, conservation, environmental pollution and degradation of environmental impact assessment, disaster and disaster management, linkages between development and spread of extremism, creating challenges to internal security, internal security through communication networks, role of media and social networking sites in internal security challenges, basics of cyber security, money laundering and its prevention, security challenges and their management in border areas, linkages of organized crime with terrorism, various security forces and agencies and their mandate, ethics, integrity and aptitude. This paper will include questions to test the candidate's attitude and approach to issues, probity in public life and his problem-solving approach to various issues and conflicts faced by him in dealing with society. Questions may utilize the case study approach to determine these aspects. The following broad areas will be covered: ethics and human interface, essence, determinants and consequences of ethics in human actions, dimensions of ethics, ethics in private and public relationships, human values, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers, and administrators, role of family, society, and education institutions in inculcating values, attitude, content, structure, function, its influence and relation with thought and behavior, moral and political attitude, social influence and persuasion, aptitude and foundational values for civil service, integrity, impartiality, and non-partisanship, objectivity, dedication to public service, empathy, tolerance, and compassion towards the weaker sections, emotional intelligence, concepts and their utilities and application in administration and governance, contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world, public civil service values and ethics in public administration, status and problems, ethical concerns and dilemmas in government and private institutions, laws, rules, regulations, and conscience as sources of ethical guidance, accountability and ethical governance, strengthening of ethical and moral values in governance, ethical issues in international relations and funding, corporate governance, probity in governance, concept of public service, philosophical basis of governance and probity, information sharing and transparency in government, right to information, codes of ethics, codes of conduct, citizen charters, work culture, quality of service delivery, utilization of public funds, challenges of corruption, case studies on above issues. I'll be back after some time. Till then, you guys study. All right.